Hey guys, let's get more news from Dallas Cowboys, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. The Dallas Cowboys had another successful regular season in 2023 and put 7 players in the Pro Bowl. Not surprisingly, they were led defensively by edge rusher Micah Parsons, who tallied a career-high 14 sacks and was named an All-Pro for the 3rd consecutive year, clearly making him one of the best players in the league. Pro Football Focus has been counting down the top 50 players in the NFL going into 2024 this week. Parsons came in at number 5 on the list. Micah Parsons became just the 4th player in the PFF era to record 100 or more pressures in a single season, finishing the 2023 regular season with 103 from his 17-game slate. He is one of the most dynamic and explosive pass rushers the game has ever seen, and he played the purest pass rushing role of his career so far this past year. Only Myles Garrett had a higher pass rush win rate than the 24.1% Parsons managed, and his pressure rate was the top mark in the league. The Cowboys have been one of the better defenses in the NFL for the last 3 years, and it starts with Parsons on the line of scrimmage. He is the ultimate chess piece with his added skills of being able to play linebacker as well as rush from the interior at times due to his speed, power, and athleticism. Parsons hasn't even been a full-time edge rusher that long, so he still has room to improve, which is scary considering how dominant he already is. Parsons has the ability to completely wreck an entire game with the different ways he can attack, and it always gives the Cowboys chances to make big plays defensively when he's on the field. The attention Parsons gets makes things easier for other guys on the line scrimmage with more one-on-one opportunities. Also, Parsons can navigate through double teams with his athletic prowess, making him a nightmare to game plan against. At just 25 years old, Parsons has plenty of time to terrorize opposing offenses in the future, and he'll certainly be at the top of these types of lists for quite some time. The Dallas Cowboys' quizzical offseason has left some major questions facing the franchise. Among the biggest uncertainties for the Cowboys this season include what Dak Prescott's future holds, whether head coach Mike McCarthy can lead Dallas deep enough into the playoffs to remain in his role beyond this season, and just how much Jerry and Stephen Jones are going to need to pay Micah Parsons. After sitting out the top of the free agent market and watching the likes of Trevor Lawrence, Kirk Cousins, and Jared Goff reshape the quarterback market, re-signing Prescott may prove exponentially more difficult and expensive for the Cowboys. However, extending Prescott might not be the Cowboys' most pressing need as training camp looms. The Cowboys' commitment to moving forward with Prescott beyond this upcoming season appears lukewarm, at best. After all, despite the fact that Prescott has averaged 3,682 passing yards with 25.2 touchdowns to 9.2 interceptions through his first 8 seasons, Dallas has never made it out of the NFC divisional round with him behind center. As a result, the Cowboys have allowed the question over Prescott's future to loom over this entire offseason rather than beating the likes of Lawrence and Goff to the market. If the Cowboys are unconvinced that Prescott is capable of making a legitimate Super Bowl charge and have sights set on next offseason's veteran quarterback market, re-signing wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, who plays a position which is quickly becoming second most vital to an offense's success, could take precedence. Pro Football Focus Thomas Valentine suggests a Lamb extension is the Cowboys' biggest priority before training camp gets underway. This one doesn't need too much explanation, Valentine writes for PFF. Lamb has been on an upward trajectory since he entered the league, but the former first-round pick reached superstardom in 2023, catching a league-high 135 passes for 1,749 yards and 12 touchdowns in the regular season. His 91.1 PFF overall grade was the highest of his career and the 3rd highest in the NFL in 2023. Lamb's connection with quarterback Dak Prescott is the fulcrum of the Cowboys' offense. Contract negotiations with Prescott are in limbo, but Dallas needs to lock up one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Securing Lamb's future would prevent one of the premier players at a premium position hitting the market, and should Prescott return beyond 2024, ensure that this duo remains a focal point of the Cowboys' offense in coming years. Similarly, if the Cowboys move on from Prescott after the upcoming season, any veteran quarterback with the possibility of having Lamb in their arsenal could push Dallas up their priority list in free agency. Extending Lamb won't be cheap, as Spotrac projects the star receiver's market value in the neighborhood of $34 million annually. But a Lamb extension could pay significant dividends for the Cowboys into the future. The Dallas Cowboys have a pair of big contract negotiations they have to deal with in the near future. Two of their top players in quarterback Dak Prescott and wide receiver CeeDee Lamb are in need of new deals, and it's safe to say they both are set for a substantial pay raise. As of right now, though, it doesn't seem like the team is close to getting either of these guys to put pen to paper. Prescott's deal has drawn a lot of attention given his standing as a quarterback, but it doesn't sound like he's the top priority for the Cowboys front office right now. That would be Lamb, with the reason being that he could end up skipping training camp, which is precisely what the team doesn't want to have happen. According to a person with knowledge of the front office's thinking, the Cowboys are putting Lamb's contract extension talks ahead of quarterback Dak Prescott's. Prescott is expected to be on the field next Thursday for the first training camp practice of the summer. When Lamb arrives in Southern California for work is unknown. A person with knowledge of Lamb's thinking said a final decision hasn't been made on whether he will continue his holdout when training camp starts. Calvin Watkins, the Dallas Morning News. The prospect of Lamb holding out has given him a bit of leverage in his contract negotiations that Prescott doesn't have currently. After seeing a handful of other wide receivers get paid this offseason, Lamb rightfully wants a new deal, and based on his production in 2023, 135 rec, 1749 YDS, 12 TD, he should end up being one of the highest paid receivers in the game. Prescott's deal has been in the works for a long time, and while Lamb's holdout situation makes him a priority, that doesn't mean the Cowboys are completely ignoring him. Prescott is one of the best passers in the game, and he's likely going to earn one of the biggest contracts in NFL history when he eventually signs his next deal. Ideally, both of these guys will get extended before the start of the upcoming campaign, but right now, it seems like Dallas is going to focus on finding some common ground with Lamb. Whether they can get an extension done before training camp remains to be seen, and the situation is well worth watching over the next few days.